Cold metal pressed against Park Tae-ho's back. His eyes opened slowly, blinking against bright white lights that hurt to look at. Everything felt wrong. The air smelled strange, like chemicals, and something else he could not name. His head pounded, like someone had hit him with a hammer. Where was he? Tae-ho tried to move, but thick straps held his arms and legs down. He was lying on some kind of table. Above him, strange machines hung from the ceiling. They had metal arms with sharp tools at the ends. The tools moved by themselves, making quiet humming sounds. The room was huge and white. Everything looked clean and new, but not like any hospital he had ever seen. The walls curved in ways that made no sense. Lights floated in the air without anything holding them up. Strange symbols glowed on surfaces that looked like glass, but felt different when he touched them. His last memory came back slowly. He had been on a transport ship heading to the mining colony on Kepler 442b. It was supposed to be a simple job: help set up the new medical center, then come home to Earth. But something had attacked their ship. There had been bright lights and a sound like thunder. Then nothing. Now he was here, wherever here was. A door opened with a soft hiss. Tae-ho had not even seen the door until it moved. 3 creatures walked in, and his blood went cold. They were not human. The aliens were tall, maybe 8 feet, with gray skin that looked wet. They had 4 arms instead of 2. Their heads were too big and shaped wrong. Black eyes stared at him without blinking. They wore white clothes that seemed to glow. One of them made sounds that might have been talking, but not in any language Tae-ho knew. The sounds were high and musical, like singing, but cold. The other 2 answered in the same strange way. They came closer to the table. Tae-ho pulled against the straps, but they were too strong. One alien held up a device that looked like a metal spider. Thin wires came out of it. The alien pressed it against Tae-ho's head. Pain shot through his skull. Images flashed in his mind, not his memories, but something else. He saw other humans strapped to tables like this one. He saw rooms full of cages with people inside. He saw aliens cutting into human bodies. But with the pain came something else. Understanding. The device was making him learn their language. "Subject is awake," one alien said. Now Tae-ho could understand the words. "Enhancement process successful. Vital signs are stronger than predicted," said another. "This species responds well to our improvements." Enhancement? Improvements? What had they done to him? The third alien, who seemed to be in charge, studied a floating screen covered with symbols. Muscle density increased by 40%. Bone strength up 30%. Neural response time improved significantly. The human form is more adaptable than we thought. They had changed him, made him stronger and faster somehow. But why? "Begin next phase testing," the leader said. "We need to understand the limits of human capability before we process the others." Others. There were other humans here. The aliens moved around the table, checking machines and making notes. They talked about him like he was not there, like he was just a thing to study. "This species shows interesting aggression patterns," one said, "much higher than the Velcorians or the Zephi." "Yes, their military records show remarkable violence capacity," another replied. "They fight wars constantly on their home world. Very primitive, but effective." Primitive. The word made anger burn in Tae-ho's chest. These creatures had kidnapped him, strapped him down, and changed his body without asking. Now, they called him primitive. They had no idea what they were dealing with. Tae-ho had served 8 years in the Korean Special Forces before becoming a biomedical engineer. He knew how to fight, how to survive, and how to kill. The aliens thought they were studying some harmless animal. They were wrong. "Prepare the physical stress tests," the leader ordered. "I want to see how much force this body can generate." One alien pressed something on a control panel. The straps around Tae-ho's arms loosened slightly. Not enough to free him, but enough to move a little. "Flex your arm muscles," the alien commanded. Tae-ho stared at the creature. He could feel the changes in his body now. His muscles felt denser, more powerful. His heart beat stronger. His vision was sharper. Whatever they had done, they had made him more than human. They had made a mistake. "Subject is not responding," one alien noted. Possible comprehension issues. The leader moved closer. Human, you will follow instructions or experience pain. Tae-ho smiled. It was not a nice smile. I understand you just fine. The aliens stepped back in surprise. They had not expected him to speak their language so well. Interesting, the leader said. Language acquisition is faster than predicted. This confirms their neural adaptability. Should we proceed with testing? Another asked. Yes. Begin with basic strength measurements. They loosened the straps on his right arm completely. A metal bar extended from the side of the table. Grip this and squeeze as hard as you can, the leader ordered. Tae-ho looked at the bar. Then he looked at the alien's face. No. You will comply or... Tae-ho's enhanced muscles moved faster than the aliens expected. His free hand shot out and grabbed the nearest alien by the throat. The creature made a choking sound and tried to pull away, but Tae-ho's grip was like steel. Alarms started screaming. Red lights flashed. The other two aliens backed away, making frightened noises. Let me explain something, Tae-ho said quietly. I am Lieutenant Park Tae-ho of the Republic of Korea Special Warfare Command. I am a soldier. You made me stronger and faster, thinking you could study me like a lab rat. He squeezed harder. The alien in his grip could not breathe. You made a very big mistake. With his enhanced strength, Tae-ho twisted hard. There was a wet crack, and the alien went limp. He let the body drop to the floor. The other two aliens ran for the door, screaming in their musical language. But Tae-ho was already working on the rest of his restraints. His new strength made the straps easy to break. He stood up from the table for the first time since waking up. His body felt amazing. Every movement was smooth and powerful. His senses were sharp, enough to hear alien footsteps running down the hallway outside. More would come soon. Security forces, probably. The aliens thought they were dealing with a primitive animal that had gotten lucky. They would send guards to put him back in his cage. Tae-ho looked around the room at all the alien medical equipment. Sharp tools, power, sources, chemical containers. Everything he needed to make weapons. He had been a biomedical engineer before becoming a soldier. He understood how bodies worked, how to hurt them, how to break them. The aliens had given him a perfect laboratory to work in. Let them come. They wanted to study human capability. He would give them a demonstration they would never forget. The war was about to begin. Tae-ho moved through the alien facility like a ghost. 3 days had passed since he killed the first researcher, and the aliens still had no idea where he was hiding. Their security systems were advanced, but they were built to keep prisoners. In cells not to track a trained soldier moving through air vents and maintenance shafts, the facility was massive. From what he could see, it had dozens of levels connected by strange tubes that moved people up and down without stairs. Everything was white and clean, with those floating lights and symbols he could not read yet. But he was learning. Every few hours, he would watch the aliens work. They followed the same patterns every day. The researchers came in shifts. The guards walked the same routes. They never changed their routines because they thought they were safe. They were wrong. Tae-ho had found a hiding place in the walls between 2 laboratories. The space was tight, but his enhanced body did not get tired like it used to. He could stay still for hours, just watching and learning. The aliens were studying humans. Lots of them. Through air vents, he could see into holding areas where people were kept in clear containers filled with some kind of liquid. The humans were alive, but sleeping. Machines monitored their bodies while alien researchers took notes on floating screens. One woman caught his attention. She was awake, sitting in a regular cell instead of a container. Asian features, maybe Korean like him. She wore the same white clothes they had put on him, but she was not just sitting there. She was working. The aliens had given her a workstation with displays showing human anatomy. They were making her help them understand how human bodies worked. She was a prisoner, but a useful one. Tae-ho needed to know what she knew. But first, he had other work to do. The aliens were starting to get nervous. Equipment kept breaking down in ways that made no sense. Control panels would stop working. Chemical containers would crack and leak. Medical devices would short out during important experiments. Tae-ho was careful to make it look like accidents. A loose wire here, a damaged seal there. Nothing that would make them think someone was sabotaging. Their work, just bad luck. The head researcher, the one who had ordered his testing, was getting angry. Tae-ho had heard him shouting at subordinates about quality control and system failures. The alien, whose name seemed to be Vectar, could not understand why everything was going wrong. Good. Confused enemies made mistakes. On the fourth night, Tae-ho decided it was time to make contact with the woman. He had mapped out the guard routes and found a way to reach her cell without being seen. The aliens did not expect anyone to move through their ventilation system. Her cell was small but comfortable. She had a bed, a desk, and access to their computer systems. The aliens trusted her because they thought she had no choice but to help them. Tae-ho dropped down from a vent opening in the ceiling. The woman looked up in shock, then opened her mouth to scream. He moved fast, covering her mouth with his hand. "I am human," he whispered in Korean. "Like you. Do not make noise." Her eyes went wide, but she nodded. He took his hand away. "Who are you?" she whispered back in Korean. "Park Tae-ho, Republic of Korea Army. You?" "Kim So-ra. I was a xenobiologist on the research station at Proxima Centauri." Her voice shook a little. "They took me 6 months ago." 6 months. She had been here much longer than him. "What do they want?" he asked. "They are studying us," So-ra said. "Trying to understand human biology, psychology, military capabilities. They think we are primitive, but they are fascinated by how we fight. They have been capturing humans from colonies all over this sector." "How many?" "Hundreds, maybe thousands. They have facilities like this one all through their space." She looked at him carefully. "You are different, stronger. They enhanced you." "Yes. Made me faster and stronger somehow. But they think I am still in a cell." So-ra smiled for the first time. "They think you are dead. When you escaped, they found the body of researcher Malketh. They decided you were killed by a security system malfunction and incinerated the corpse they found." Tae-ho almost laughed. "They cremated one of their own people thinking it was me?" "Their arrogance blinds them," So-ra said. "They cannot imagine a primitive human could kill one of them and escape. So they made up an explanation that fit their beliefs." "Perfect. If they thought he was dead, they would not be looking for him." "What can you tell me about this place?" he asked. So-ra's expression grew serious. "It is a research vessel, but huge, maybe 50,000 aliens on board. They have been studying captured species for centuries. Humans are just the latest. Weaknesses? They depend completely on their technology. If their systems fail, they panic. And they are not fighters. They have security forces, but they are used to dealing with scared prisoners, not soldiers." Tae-ho nodded. "I need you to do something for me." "What?" "Keep helping them with their research, but make mistakes. Small ones. Give them wrong information about human capabilities, but not obviously wrong. Make them think we are weaker than we are in some ways, stronger in others." So-ra understood immediately. Misinformation. Make them prepare for the wrong kind of threat. "Exactly. And watch for patterns. Guard schedules, shift changes when important researchers are in the labs." "Can you do that?" "Yes." "But Tae-ho, what are you planning?" He looked at her seriously. "I am going to get every human off this ship. But first, I need to teach these aliens why you should never cage a predator." Over the next week, Tae-ho began his real campaign. The random equipment failures became more frequent and more specific. Lights would go out in critical areas during important experiments. Life support would fluctuate in research labs, forcing evacuations. Security doors would lock researchers in or out at the worst possible times. The aliens started to panic. They brought in technical teams to check all their systems. They found nothing wrong because Tae-ho was too good at covering his tracks. But the problems kept happening. He also began leaving messages. Korean words carved into alien equipment, where only humans would recognize them. Hope scratched into the wall of a holding cell, soon etched into a workstation display. The captured humans began to see the signs and understand that someone was fighting back. So-ra fed the aliens false information about human psychology, making them think humans were pack animals who would become helpless if separated from their groups. She told them humans could not think strategically under stress. She made them believe their security measures were more than adequate. Meanwhile, She passed real information to Tae-ho through hidden messages in the work areas he could access. Guard patrol schedules. Which aliens were important? Where weapons were stored? How many humans were being held and where? The information she gave him was disturbing. There were over 300 humans on the ship, most of them unconscious, in holding tanks. The aliens were planning to dissect some of them to better understand human anatomy. Others would be sent to different facilities for psychological testing. But there were also opportunities. The aliens had grown careless because they felt completely safe. Their weapons were stored in areas with minimal security. Important systems had few guards because who would attack them? Tae-ho had been a soldier before he became an engineer. He knew that every enemy had weaknesses, no matter how advanced they seemed. The aliens' weakness was their own arrogance. They thought they were studying animals. They were about to learn they had captured something much more dangerous. On the 10th night, Tae-ho began Phase 2 of his plan. It was time to stop hiding and start hunting. The alien security team never saw Tae-ho coming. 4 guards were escorting 2 human prisoners through a maintenance corridor when the lights went out. In the darkness, there were sounds of struggle, alien screams, and then silence. When the lights came back on, the guards were dead and the humans were gone. Tae-ho led Lee Min-ki and Choi Hana through the ventilation system to his hidden base between the laboratory walls. Both humans were weak from their time in the holding tanks, but alert enough to understand they were being rescued. "Who are you?" Min-ki asked when they reached safety. He was a thin man with engineer's hands, maybe 30 years old. "Park Tae-ho, Korean Special Forces." "You?" "Lee Min-ki. I was a mechanical engineer on the colony ship Sejong before they took me." Min-ki looked around the cramped hiding space. "How long have you been free?" 2 weeks. This is Choi Hana," Tae-ho said, helping. The woman sat down. She was pale and shaky, but her eyes were sharp and focused. "Fighter pilot," Hana said weakly. "Or I was. How many others have you freed?" "You are the first, but not the last." Tae-ho had chosen these 2 carefully. From watching the aliens' records on Sora's workstation, he knew Min-ki had military engineering training and Hana had been a combat pilot before joining the colonist mission. They were exactly the skills he needed. "What is the situation?" Hana asked. Tae-ho explained everything he had learned. The size of the ship, the number of aliens, the location of weapons and critical systems. He told them about Sora and the intelligence network they were building. 300 humans, Min-ki said slowly, against 50,000 aliens. "The odds do not matter," Tae-ho replied. "They think we are primitive animals. They have no idea what humans can do when we fight back. But their technology," Min-ki started, "is useless if they do not know how to use it against us," Tae-ho interrupted. "They have never fought a war. They just capture weaker species and study them. They have no experience with guerrilla warfare, no understanding of human tactics." He showed them the alien weapons he had stolen from the security team. The guns were energy-based, powerful, but with limited charges. The alien armor was strong but heavy and designed for their four-armed bodies. "We cannot fight them head-on," Hana said, understanding immediately. "But we can make them afraid." Exactly. Fear makes people make mistakes, and they will make many mistakes. Over the next 3 days, Tae-ho trained his small team in the basics of their new war. Min-ki proved brilliant at understanding alien technology and figuring out how to break it or turn it against its makers. Hana, despite her weakness, had a tactical mind that quickly grasped the layout of the ship and its vulnerabilities. They began with simple sabotage. Power conduits mysteriously failed, causing entire sections to lose life support. Computer systems crashed at critical moments. Research equipment malfunctioned during important experiments. But now they added a new element. Bodies, alien guards, started disappearing. Security teams would find their colleagues dead in storage rooms, maintenance shafts, and empty laboratories. The deaths were quick and efficient, clearly the work of someone who knew exactly how to kill. The aliens panicked. Security Commander Mordak increased patrols and implemented new safety protocols. But the ship was enormous, with thousands of corridors, vents, and access shafts. 3 humans who knew how to move unseen could be anywhere. "They are increasing security around the human holding areas," Sora reported during one of their secret meetings. But they are pulling guards from other areas to do it. Good, Taeho said. That makes our real targets easier to reach. Their real targets were not the holding tanks where most humans were kept unconscious. Those could wait. Their targets were the awake humans who were being used for testing and research. One by one, they began freeing the prisoners the aliens kept conscious. A linguist named Park Jin-soo, who had been forced to help translate human communications. A medical doctor called Yoon Da-eun, who was being made to explain human anatomy. A former Marine named Kang Seok-jin, who had been subjected to combat stress tests. Each rescue was carefully planned. Taeho's team would create distractions in other parts of the ship while one of them extracted the target. The aliens' security forces would rush to respond to explosions or system failures while their real objective was achieved elsewhere. Within a week, Taeho had freed 12 humans. Most were weak and traumatized, but all were angry, and anger properly directed was a powerful weapon. "We need a base," Hana said during a planning meeting, "somewhere we can keep the freed prisoners while they recover." Taeho had been thinking the same thing. The hiding spaces between walls were fine for a small team, but they needed room for a growing resistance force. "The lower decks," Minki suggested. "I have been studying their ship schematics. The bottom levels are mostly automated systems and storage. Minimal alien presence. They spent 2 days scouting the lower levels and found exactly what they needed. A large storage area filled with supplies and equipment, with multiple access points and good hiding spots. The aliens rarely came here except for routine maintenance. Moving the freed humans to the new base was dangerous, but they managed it, without being detected. Soon they had a proper command center hidden in the heart of the alien ship. Dr. Yoon proved invaluable in treating the rescued prisoners and helping them recover from their captivity. Park Jin-soo used his linguistic skills to help decode alien communications they intercepted. Kang Seok-jin began training the other freed humans in basic combat techniques. But their most important asset was still Sora, working inside the alien. "Research teams. They are becoming desperate," she reported. "High Researcher Vector is under pressure from his superiors to explain the security failures. He is starting to suspect organized resistance, but the other aliens think he is being paranoid." "What about their response?" Taeho asked. "More guards, but they are spreading them too thin, and they are making the mistake of focusing on protecting their research rather than hunting for us." This was exactly what Taeho wanted. Defensive thinking instead of offensive action. The aliens were reacting to his moves instead of making their own plans. "There is something else," Sora continued. "They are planning to move some of the human test subjects to another facility. A transport ship will dock here in 5 days. Taeho felt a chill. Once the humans were scattered across multiple alien facilities, rescue would become almost impossible. "How many?" he asked. 50 of the awake prisoners, including me. That changed everything. They could not let the aliens split up their people. It was time to escalate their campaign from sabotage to open warfare. "We need weapons," Taeho told his team. "Real weapons, not just stolen sidearms." "The main armory is heavily guarded," Hana warned. "Then we make them bring the weapons to us," Minki said with a smile. "I have an idea." The plan was simple but dangerous. They would stage a massive accident in one of the main laboratories, something big enough to require major emergency response. While alien security forces rushed to contain the crisis, they would hit the armory with their full team. "If this goes wrong, we will be trapped," Hana pointed out. "If we do nothing, our people get scattered across the galaxy," Taeho replied. "We fight now, or we lose our chance." The freed humans looked at him with trust and determination. They were no longer victims. They were soldiers in a war their captors did not even know was happening. It was time to show the aliens what humans could do when they stopped hiding and started fighting. The explosion shook the entire research deck. Emergency alarms screamed as toxic gases poured from the destroyed laboratory. Alien researchers ran in panic while security forces rushed to contain what looked like a catastrophic accident. 20. Levels below, Taeho and his team cut through the armory's security door with stolen plasma cutters. 2 minutes, Hana whispered, watching the corridor for guards. Minki worked frantically on the electronic locks, while Taeho and the other freed. Humans prepared for a fight. The armory contained enough weapons to arm a small army, but first they had to get inside. Got it, Min-Ki said as the massive door slid open. What they found inside made even the former Marine Kang Seok-jin whistle in appreciation. Rows of energy. Weapons, explosive devices, and armor filled the huge storage room. The aliens had enough firepower here to destroy a city. Take everything we can carry, Taeho ordered. Priority on portable weapons and ammunition. They loaded themselves with alien rifles, sidearms, and grenades. The weapons were designed for four-armed users, but humans could adapt. They always did. The armory raid took 3 minutes. By the time alien security realized what had happened, the humans were already gone, vanished back into the ventilation systems and maintenance shafts they had mapped over weeks of careful scouting. Hi. Researcher Vector stood in the destroyed laboratory, his gray skin turning darker with rage. The accident had destroyed months of research and killed 6 of his staff. But now he knew the truth. This was no accident, he told Security Commander Mordak. This was coordinated, planned. That is impossible, Mordak replied. Our subjects are contained. This must be equipment failure. Then explain the missing weapons, Vector interrupted. Someone raided our armory while we were distracted here. The security commander's 4 arms gestured helplessly. Perhaps other species? Rivals trying to sabotage our research? No, Vector said quietly. It was the humans. The next day, the alien ship learned what armed humans could do. Security patrols began disappearing completely. Not just killed, but vanished along with all their equipment. Search teams would find bloodstains and signs of struggle, but no bodies and no weapons. Critical. Systems failed with increasing frequency. Not random failures, but surgical strikes at exactly the right components to cause maximum disruption. Someone with engineering knowledge was systematically crippling the ship's ability to function. Then, the real attacks began. A research team, working on captured human brain tissue, found themselves trapped in their laboratory when the doors locked and the air began pumping out. By the time security broke in, all 6 researchers were dead from suffocation. An alien patrol investigating reports of sabotage in the lower decks walked into a carefully prepared ambush. Explosive charges killed 3 instantly, while human voices shouted battle cries from hidden positions. The survivors fled in terror, reporting that the humans fought like demons. They are using our own weapons against us, Mordak reported to the ship's command council. Our energy rifles, our explosives, they have turned our technology into tools of war. Impossible, said another council member. These are primitive creatures. They barely understand fire, much less our advanced systems. Tell that to the 37. Researchers and guards they have killed in the past week, Mordak snapped. Vector studied the tactical displays showing the locations of attacks. There was a pattern, but not one he could understand. The humans struck at seemingly random targets, then vanished before reinforcements could arrive. What do they want? He asked. To escape, obviously, another alien replied. No, Vector said, slowly. If they wanted to escape, they would have tried to reach the shuttle bays or communication centers. Instead, they are killing researchers and destroying our work. This is not about escape. Then what? Revenge, Vector whispered. They are hunting us. The human resistance had grown to over 40 freed prisoners. Their hidden base in the lower decks had become a military command center with weapons stockpiles, communications equipment, and medical facilities. Dr. Yoon worked around the clock, treating wounded fighters and keeping everyone healthy. Park. Jinsu monitored alien communications, giving advance warning of security sweeps. Kang Seok-jin drilled the former civilians in combat tactics. But it was Min-Ki who became their secret weapon. The engineer had figured out how to modify alien technology in ways its creators never imagined. He turned medical devices into weapons, environmental systems into traps, and communication equipment into surveillance networks. The beauty of their technology, he explained to Taeho, is that it is all connected. Everything talks to everything else. If you know how to listen, you can control their entire ship. Can you access their main computer? Given time, yes, but it would require getting close to one of their primary terminals. That meant infiltrating the command levels of the ship, where security was heaviest. But it also meant potentially taking control of life support, artificial gravity, and every other system that kept the aliens alive. Meanwhile, Sora continued her work inside the alien research teams, now as their most valuable intelligence asset. Her reports painted a picture of growing panic among the aliens. They are pulling researchers from non-essential projects, she told Taeho during a secret meeting. Half the science teams have been reassigned to security duties. Their work is grinding to a halt. Good. What about the transport that was coming? Delayed indefinitely. They will not risk moving prisoners while the ship is under attack. This was exactly what Taeho wanted. Keep the humans together, disrupt alien operations, and slowly take control of the ship from within. But Vector was starting to adapt. The High Researcher began implementing new security measures that showed he was finally taking the human threat seriously. He is isolating critical systems, Sora reported, cutting connections between networks to prevent sabotage, and he is bringing in military reinforcements from other ships. That was a problem. The aliens on this ship were researchers and technicians, not soldiers. They panicked easily and made mistakes. Real military forces would be much harder to fight. How? Long before the reinforcements arrive? Taeho asked. 3 days. 3 days to end this before it became a real war between humans and alien military forces. 3 days to either take the ship or lose everything. Taeho gathered his team leaders for an emergency meeting in the hidden command center, surrounded by stolen alien weapons and equipment. They planned their final offensive. We have 43 fighters, Kang Seokjin reported. 22 have military or security experience. The rest are civilians, but they are motivated. Weapons? Taeho asked. Enough energy rifles and explosives for everyone, plus reserves, Min-ki said. And I have been working on special surprises for our alien friends. Intelligence? Sora has identified all critical command personnel and their locations, Jinsu said. We know where Vector and Mordak will be and when. Taeho looked at his people. Former prisoners who had become soldiers, civilians who had learned to fight, a resistance that had grown from one escaped captive to an army. In 3 days, alien military forces will arrive, he said. We cannot fight them in a fair battle, but we do not need to fight fair. He outlined his plan. It was dangerous, requiring multiple coordinated strikes across the massive ship. If it worked, they would control the vessel and free every human prisoner. If it failed, they would all die. Questions? He asked when he finished. Hana raised her hand. What about the other humans still in the holding tanks? Phase 1 is to secure the command center and life support systems, Taeho replied. Once we control those, we can safely wake up our people. And if the aliens fight back? Taeho smiled grimly. Then we show them why humans have been fighting wars for thousands of years while they have been playing with test tubes. The war was about to become very real for the aliens. They thought they were dealing with escaped animals. Tomorrow, they would learn they had been invaded by Earth's most dangerous predator. Humanity was done hiding. The attack began at 0300 ship time, when most aliens were in their sleep cycle. Taeho led the assault on the command center while 3 other teams struck simultaneously at life support, communications, and the main computer core. The aliens never expected the humans to attack everything at once. Contact! Multiple breaches on Deck 7! An alien security officer screamed into his communicator before Kang Seok-jin's team silenced him permanently. Explosive charges ripped through blast doors that were supposed to be impregnable. Human fighters poured through the gaps. They're stolen. Energy weapons cutting down confused alien guards who had never faced organized military assault. Min-ki's modifications to the ship's systems paid off perfectly. Lights went out in critical areas just as the humans attacked. Gravity fluctuated, throwing off alien defenders' aim. Emergency barriers locked down, trapping alien reinforcements away from the battles. Command center secured, Taeho reported, over the captured communication system. His team had taken the ship's bridge after a vicious firefight that left a dozen aliens dead. Beginning Phase 2. Phase 2 was taking control of the ship's computer systems. Min-ki and his technical team rushed to the main terminals, while human guards held the entrances against alien counterattacks. I am in, Min-ki announced, his fingers flying over alien control interfaces. Taking control of life support, artificial gravity, internal communications. Across the ship, the remaining alien forces found themselves fighting in the dark as human-controlled systems turned against them. Doors locked them in or out at the worst moments. Air circulation stopped in critical areas. Emergency announcements, in perfect alien language, told lies about system failures and evacuation orders. High researcher Vector had barricaded himself in his private laboratory with a squad of guards, but the humans were not interested in hiding anymore. They came straight through the walls. Impossible, Vector whispered as armed humans stepped through the holes they had blown in his reinforced walls. You are test subjects, research animals. Tai-Ho walked up to the alien scientist who had ordered his torture and enhancement. You made one mistake, he said calmly. You thought you could improve on 4 billion years of evolution. Vector's black eyes went wide as he finally understood. You used our enhancements against us. Your enhancements made me stronger and faster, Tai-Ho agreed, but I was already a killer. You just made me better at it. The last thing Vector saw was Tai-Ho's enhanced fist coming toward his face. Security Commander Mordak tried to organize a final defense around the human holding areas. If the aliens could not retake the ship, at least they could prevent the prisoners from being freed. He was wrong about that, too. Hana's team hit the holding areas from 3 directions, while Min-Ki used the ship's own systems to begin waking up the unconscious humans. The sleeping prisoners began stirring as their life support pods opened for the first time in months. Get them up and moving, Dr. Yoon ordered the medical teams. Anyone who can walk needs to get clear of the combat zones. 300 groggy, confused humans stumbled out of their prison pods into a war zone, but they were alive, and they were free. Mordak made his last stand in the central corridor leading to the holding areas. 24 alien guards with heavy weapons faced off against 30 human fighters armed with stolen rifles. It should have been an even fight. The aliens had better positions and superior firepower, but they had never fought humans before. 4. Earth! Kang Seok-jin roared, leading a charge straight into the alien defensive line. The humans did not take cover or try to outshoot their enemies. They ran directly at the alien positions, screaming battle cries and firing as they moved. Some fell to alien energy beams, but the rest kept coming. The aliens panicked. Their rigid military training had not prepared them for enemies who ignored superior firepower and attacked with pure aggression. Their defensive line collapsed as terrified guards fled from humans who fought like wild animals. Mordak found himself alone, surrounded by dead subordinates and advancing human soldiers. He raised his hands in surrender. We yield, he said in his musical language. We surrender according to galactic law. Tai-Ho looked at the alien commander who had overseen their imprisonment and torture. There is no surrender, he said quietly, then shot Mordak in the chest. The battle was over. After 6 hours of fighting, the humans controlled the entire research vessel. Over 200 aliens lay dead throughout the ship. The survivors had been rounded up and locked in the same holding cells where they had kept human prisoners. The main command center, Tai-Ho stood before a wall of screens showing every part of the ship. His people were everywhere, freed prisoners, trained fighters, technical specialists. They had done the impossible. Casualty report, he asked Hana. 18. Dead, 37 wounded, she replied. Dr. Yoon says all the wounded will recover. 18 human lives lost to free 300. It was a price Tai-Ho hated to pay, but it could have been much worse. Status of the ship? He asked Min-Ki. Under full human control, the engineer reported. All systems responding. I have locked out alien access codes and changed everything to Korean language interfaces. The freed prisoners? Recovering, Dr. Yoon said. Most are in good health despite months of captivity. The enhancement procedures they performed on some of the others actually improved their physical condition. Tai-Ho nodded. The aliens had been so focused on studying human capabilities that they had accidentally made their prisoners stronger and more dangerous. Sora approached with a data tablet showing information from the alien computers. I have been analyzing their records, she said. This facility was just one of dozens. There are thousands of humans being held on other ships throughout alien space. What about their military forces? The reinforcements we were expecting will arrive in 6 hours, Jin Su reported from the communication station. 3 warships with about 5,000 soldiers. 5,000 trained alien warriors against fewer than 300 humans, most of whom had been prisoners until a few hours ago. The odds were impossible. But Tae-ho was smiling. "Good," he said. "Let them come." "Sir?" Hana asked, confused. "We are not running from this fight," Tae-ho explained. "We are going to win it, and then we are going to use their ships to find every human prisoner in alien space." He turned to address all the humans in the command center. Former prisoners, resistance fighters, and newly freed captives. "The aliens think they have been studying us," he said. "Learning our weaknesses, mapping our limitations. They have no idea what they have really done." He gestured to the screens showing the captured alien ship, now under human control. "They have given us their technology, their weapons, their ships, and most importantly, they have given us a reason to fight." The humans in the command center, Korean, Chinese, American, European, African, looked at him with understanding and determination. "We are not going home," Tae-ho continued. "Not until every human in alien space is free. Not until these creatures understand the price of caging humanity." On the screens, alien warships were approaching. Soon there would be another battle, larger and more dangerous than anything they had fought so far. But the humans were ready. They had learned to turn alien technology against its creators. They had proven that human tactics could overcome superior numbers and firepower. Most importantly, they were no longer prisoners or test subjects. They were soldiers in a war the aliens had started but would not be allowed to finish. The galaxy was about to learn why humanity had never been successfully domesticated. The alien warships dropped out of faster-than-light travel, expecting to find their research vessel continuing its normal operations. Instead, they found a trap. 3 ships confirmed, Jin-Soo reported from the communications station. "Heavy, cruisers, full military configuration. They are trying to contact the research vessel." "Let them," Tae-ho said calmly. "Min-ki, are you ready?" The engineer nodded from his position at the ship's weapons console. Over the past 6 hours, he had studied the alien weapons systems and made crucial modifications. All systems charged and targeted. The humans had spent those 6 hours preparing for this moment. The freed prisoners who could fight had been armed and trained in basic tactics. Those who could not fight had been moved to secure areas of the ship. Most importantly, Min-ki had learned how to use the research vessel's advanced weapons. "Incoming transmission," Jin-Soo announced. On the main screen, an alien military commander appeared. He was larger than the researchers, with visible scars and darker gray skin. His 4 arms gestured impatiently. "Research vessel Talneth, respond. Immediately. We are Admiral Zekhan of the 3rd Battle Fleet. Report your status." Tae-ho stepped into view of the camera. The alien admiral's expression changed from annoyance to shock. "Hello, Admiral," Tae-ho said in perfect alien language. "My name is Park Tae-ho, and I am the new captain of this vessel." The alien stared at him for several seconds before finding his voice. "Impossible. You are a test subject. Where is High Researcher Vectar?" "Dead," Tae-ho replied simply. "Along with most of his staff. This ship now belongs to humanity." "You lie," the Admiral snarled. "Primitive species cannot operate our technology." "Would you like a demonstration?" Tae-ho nodded to Min-ki, who fired a precise energy beam that struck one of the warship's sensor arrays. The blast was perfectly controlled, enough to show capability without causing serious damage. The alien admiral's expression shifted from disbelief to rage. "You will surrender immediately or be destroyed." "No," Tae-ho said. "You will surrender, or learn why you should never underestimate Earth's children." He cut the transmission and turned to his crew. "All stations, prepare for battle." The 3 alien warships moved into attack formation, their weapons charging for what they expected, to be a quick destruction of rebels using stolen equipment. But the humans had advantages the aliens did not know about. "They are jamming our communications," one alien captain reported to Admiral Zekhan. "Standard suppression protocols." What the aliens did not realize was that the humans were not using standard communications. Min-ki had modified their systems to use frequencies and methods no alien had ever seen. The research vessel's computers gave them detailed information about alien military tactics, weapon capabilities, and standard responses. "Fire," Taeho ordered. The research vessel was not designed for combat, but it had powerful scientific equipment that Min-Ki had weaponized. Particle accelerators became energy cannons. Gravity generators became weapons that could crush alien hulls. Experimental systems became tools of war. The first alien warship took a direct hit from a modified antimatter containment beam. Its shields collapsed instantly, and secondary explosions rippled across its hull. Impossible, Admiral Zekhan whispered as damage reports flooded in. How are they generating that much power? The humans were fighting with scientific equipment, turned into weapons of war. But more than that, they were fighting with tactics the aliens had never seen. Instead of standing off and exchanging fire like civilized species, the research vessel accelerated straight toward the enemy fleet. "They are ramming us!" an alien captain screamed. But the humans were not planning to ram. At the last second, the research vessel used its gravity generators to slingshot around one warship while firing at point-blank range into another. The maneuver was impossible, according to alien military doctrine, but humans had been using gravity-assist techniques in space for centuries. 2 alien warships were crippled in the first exchange. The third tried to retreat, but Min-Ki had prepared for that too. The research vessel's faster-than-light drive had been modified to create an interference field. None of the ships could escape. "Admiral," one of the crippled warships transmitted, "we request immediate assistance. The primitives have military capabilities beyond our intelligence estimates." Admiral Zekhan stared at his tactical displays. Somehow, humans using captured equipment had defeated 2 of his warships in minutes. It was impossible, but it was happening. "All ships, focus fire on the research vessel," he ordered. "Destroy it completely." But his remaining warship was already under attack. The humans had launched boarding pods, converted research shuttles filled with armed fighters. The pods moved in patterns that confused alien targeting systems, using randomness and unpredictability instead of logical flight paths. "Boarders!" alien security forces reported as human fighters cut through airlocks and emergency hatches. "They are inside the ship." The alien crews had never faced human close combat tactics. In the narrow corridors of their own ships, human aggression and adaptability proved devastating. The aliens fell back in panic as humans advanced with stolen weapons and improvised explosives. Kang Seok-jin led the assault on Admiral Zekhan's flagship. The former Marine and his team moved through the alien ship like a natural disaster, destroying everything in their path. "Bridge secured," he reported over the communications system. "Admiral is our prisoner." In less than an hour, the humans had captured all 3 alien warships. The crews that survived were locked in holding cells while human technical teams learned how to operate military-grade alien technology. Taeho stood on the bridge of Admiral Zekhan's flagship, looking out at the 4 ships now under human control. Behind him, Sora and Min-Ki worked at alien computers, downloading military databases and star charts. "What do you want?" Admiral Zekhan asked. He was restrained but still defiant. "Information," Taeho replied. "Locations of every facility where humans are being held, military installations, research stations, prison ships, everything. I will tell you nothing." Taeho smiled coldly. "You do not have to. Your computers are telling us everything we need to know." Sora looked up from her workstation. "I have found it," she said. "Complete database of all alien operations in this sector. 17 facilities holding human prisoners, over 10,000 people. 10,000 humans scattered across alien space, being studied and tortured by creatures who thought they were superior. But not for much longer." "What about Earth?" Taeho asked. "Do they know about our home world?" "Not yet," Sora said, relief in her voice. "They have only been raiding outer colonies. Earth is still safe." That was good news. It meant the aliens did not know about humanity's true military capabilities or industrial base. They thought humans were just scattered colonists with primitive technology, another mistake they would pay for. "Min-Ki, can you operate these ships?" "With the help of the freed prisoners who have technical training, yes," the engineer replied. "The alien systems are complex but logical, and we have their manuals." Taeho looked at the tactical displays showing the location of alien facilities. Some were research stations like the one they had captured. Others were military bases. "AI, Few were what the aliens called processing centers, places where captured species were sorted and distributed to different facilities. "Send a message to all human resistance cells," he ordered. "Tell them the liberation has begun." Over the next week, human-controlled alien ships struck at targets throughout the sector. They moved fast, hitting facilities before the aliens could react or call for help. Each victory freed more human prisoners and captured more alien technology. The aliens had expected to study human military capabilities gradually, in controlled conditions. Instead, they found themselves fighting a war against an enemy that learned their technology faster than they could deploy it. "How is this possible?" Admiral Zekhan asked during one of his interrogations. "You had no knowledge of our technology 6 months ago." "That is humanity's greatest weapon," Tejo explained. "We adapt, we learn, we take your tools and make them better. You tried to study us like laboratory animals, but we are predators, and predators always escape their cages." The final blow came when the human fleet located the Sector Command Station, a massive facility that coordinated all alien research operations. It was heavily defended, with a dozen warships and thousands of alien soldiers. The humans attacked anyway. Using captured alien identification codes and military protocols, they approached as a returning patrol. By the time the aliens realized the deception, human boarding parties were already inside the station. The battle was fierce but brief. Alien military training focused on fighting other civilized species with predictable tactics. Against humans who used improvised weapons, unpredictable movements, and overwhelming aggression, their defenses collapsed. When the smoke cleared, the humans controlled the sector's primary military installation. More importantly, they had access to the alien empire's main databases. "This is bigger than we thought," Sora reported as she analyzed the captured data. "The aliens have been studying dozens of species across hundreds of star systems. But humans are special." "How so?" "We are the first species to successfully fight back. Every other race they captured was either destroyed or enslaved completely. But humans,